Okay, so we've just going to start recording, and welcome to the Happy Hormones class. Tonight is going to be focused fairly much on essential oils and happy hormones, but I did want to just say that one of the things that I was researching a little earlier today, and I always encourage people to do their own research with these classes. You know, we're not here to diagnose or treat or make ourselves out to be medical experts. All we're trying to do in a class like this is get you to do your own research, do a little bit of digging and find the answers that you have for your own health challenges so that you stay above the wellness line. So my name's Andrea Donaldson, and I'm pleased to be presenting this class. I did do some research today in Jen O'Sullivan's supplements desk reference book, and she has a whole section in there on hormone support protocols using the Young Living supplements. So I'd really encourage you to think a little wider than just what we're going to cover tonight. May this be the beginning of a journey for you to find your best health with hormones. I guess the thing about, so I'll progress through, and then we'll have a time for questions at the end. So I want to start by telling you a little bit of my Young Living journey. Back in October 2017, I was in a very miserable place. Now, the photo on the left is not actually from 2017, it's from 2019, but I'll tell you a little bit about that as we come to it. I was at the time working in a job where I was being bullied, and my health was really suffering from the stress of all that. So I was drowning, if you like, in family and work stress. I was running on empty, and in fact my GP had put me on antidepressants, and I was taking a lot of headache pills, so a lot of Panadol was going through the system. My hands particularly were cracking and bleeding. I've had eczema since a child, and my family were really bearing the brunt of my extreme mood swings and my uncontrolled emotions. And then a friend invited me to come and check out some essential oils. Now, I'd been exposed to them in the past, but this was a company I'd never heard of before, and that was Young Living. It was such a simple solution, and it's helped my family life to dramatically turn around. I'm no longer taking any pharmaceutical medications. And I turn to the oils whenever there's a health challenge to see what I can do naturally to support my wellness. So I'll be forever grateful to my friend Ingrid for inviting me to that class and discovering Young Living and the oils and supplements. This PowerPoint that we're looking at tonight was put together by Deb Dunn, and Deb also had a journey with Young Living. This was her hand on the left in February 2017, where she was diagnosed with dyshydronic eczema, and she was also found to have a very toxic liver. She had very low energy, and then this was her and the whole family having joined Young Living and discovered her own health. She's also created an income through that discovery of Young Living, and they as a family travelled for I think 18 months to 2 years in a caravan around Australia, creating a lifestyle, not just a life. So tonight's class is about hormones, and particularly women's hormones, but I just want to talk to you first of all about hormones. What are they? They're chemical substances, natural chemical substances that are made in the body. They're a complex system of glands. There are actually 10 glands in the endocrine system, but each of the sexes only has 9. So we have 8 glands that are common to both sexes: the hypothalamus, the pineal gland, all these complex names. And then for men, they have testes, and for women, we have ovaries. So that's our hormone system. Some of them you'd know the names of, others you wouldn't necessarily. And our sex hormones or our reproductive hormones are produced in the ovaries, the adrenals, the placenta, and the gut. Okay, a little bit of brain anatomy. I like to call the hypothalamus the director and the pituitary gland the CEO. Now, these are deep within our brain, and so they are doing the job to really orchestrate all of the other hormones that are needed for various functions. The thyroid, for instance, known for appetite control, the adrenal glands, they're what keep us going when we're busy. And then estrogen and progesterone, the two primary female hormones, where balance is absolutely essential and key to our hormone health. So, is there a problem? I guess if we think about the world we live in and we think about the number of people that struggle to have children and the fertility issues that we see these days compared to perhaps 2 generations ago, what is the problem? And I guess the problem is that we are now exposed to more chemicals than we've ever been exposed to. There's been studies done, and there's one here that where 2,000, nearly 3,000 ingredients were studied, and of them 884 were toxic and yet readily available in commercial products. 314 caused biological mutations, 218 caused reproductive problems, 146 caused cancerous tumours, and many of the chemicals that are put into our everyday products, and I'm talking things we put on our body, things we put into our body, things we clean our houses with, also can mimic estrogen within the body and lead to excess estrogen. So what that means for most women is lethargy, so lack of energy, headaches, itchy rashes, hair loss, irregular periods, and difficulty conceiving if they're of childbearing age. So I want to talk about a few solutions tonight, not just the problem, because I guess the problem is whenever you see fragrance on a product, it's usually a man-made fragrance, and that will be messing with your hormones. So just do a little look around your house, pick up a shampoo if it's not a Young Living one, look at what's in it, and even Google the dangers of and put in those chemical words and see what comes up. So I just want to talk about a couple of simple solutions that we can use to help keep our hormones healthy, and then we're going to do a little quiz, so you'll need pen and paper. And if you're watching this on replay, stop the replay now, go and get your pen and paper and come back. So the first step to looking after your hormones is to create a chemical-free home, to go natural. And I like to say there are 2 bottles in my house that I lean heavily on. One is my bottle of Thieves household cleaner. And as you can see here, it replaces a lot of different things. Thieves at different dilutions will clean the surfaces in your kitchen, the windows of your home, your toilets, you name it, Thieves will do it. And in fact, Thieves is the basis of some of our personal care products too. So our hand soaps and our toothpastes. And I'll tell you what's in Thieves in a short while, because it's a funny name. It doesn't mean someone's coming to steal from your house. So very cost effective as a cleaner, because it is diluted to such an extent that you really do get value for money. So what is the Thieves blend? Well, as you, sorry, that's interesting. Just go back to that. Thieves is a blend of 5 different essential oils that came about because in the times of the plague, there were, and this is back in 1400s, in France, there was a plague, not unlike common day, and the the spice merchants who were travelling in France at the time were not allowed to leave the country. So they were landlocked, they were in quarantine, they're in lockdown, call it what you will. And so they needed to come up with another source of income because they couldn't go back and trade in their spices. And so they were stealing from the bodies of the dead and dying. Pretty awful way to make your living, but there you go. And but they weren't dying themselves. They weren't catching this plague. And when the authorities caught up with them, they said, look, we'll go a little easier on you if you would share the secret as to why it is you can move amongst the dead and dying and not be affected. And they shared their recipe. Now, the recipe has been disputed over the years as to the exact recipe, but Gary Young in Young Living formulated the Thieves Blend on the basis of the most common recipes that he came across, and they include rosemary oil, clove, eucalyptus, cinnamon bark, and lemon. So that's the Thieves Blend, which is the basis of an essential oil, but is also the basis of the household cleaner and many of the other products in the Thieves range. So the essential oil can be used for a number of different ways of enhancing our health to combat symptoms of cold and flu, strep throat. It'll kill mold, very good for our gums because of the clove particularly, which is good for our gums. So any gingivitis or bleeding gums, fungal skin and toenail infections, cold sores and bronchitis, and even washing our dishes in Thieves can make them antibacterial and so safe to eat off without all the nasty chemicals. So what's happened with this Thieves range based on the oil is a whole effective way of cleaning your house and cleaning your body, cleaning your mouth without adding toxic chemicals. So we have a laundry detergent, a household cleaner, hand soap, toothpaste, hand sanitizer, mouthwash, all with no nasty chemicals, but effective against airborne and other bacteria. So a very, very budget-friendly plant-based cleaner made only of plants. And I use it for lots of different things. I make dishwashing tablets out of it. I use it obviously as a straight cleaning product. Yeah, I just love it. So it's the first bottle that I'm talking about tonight. You can see some before and afters of these are from a friend of ours, Kylie, her oven door before and after Thieves. You can actually see through the oven door. It can be used as a stain remover. And we actually have a starter kit or collection that features just the Thieves range. And has a few oils in it as well. I will talk to you about a special offer later in this PowerPoint as well. The second bottle that I like to talk about when it comes to hormones is Mincha Red and other bottles of supplements. Now, we were very fortunate within our Peninsula Oil Ability team to hear from Elspeth Vines, who's a naturopath, last week, and she talked a little bit about hormone health and the importance of good nutrition. And while we do our best to eat, eat the rainbow, as they say, and eat well, eat good quality food, we're not always able to guarantee the nutrients that we're absorbing from our food anymore because of the way modern farming practices occur, and not everyone can afford to eat organic all of the time. So we need to look at other ways to supplement our nutritional needs, and particularly if you think about hormones are something that we create within our body, therefore we have to have the building blocks to be able to produce good quality hormones comes from our nutrition. So if we're not absorbing good nutrition from our food, if we've had prolonged stress on our body, which can lead to adrenal fatigue and mean our adrenal glands are not manufacturing what needs to happen for the rest of our hormones to follow on, or if we're lacking vitamins and minerals, we need to look at supplementing. And Ninja is a really good place to start. So before I go on, the other thing that's really important are the trace minerals when it comes to producing hormones. And so Mineral Essence is one of the Young Living products in the supplement range. Tastes disgusting, but I add it to my Ninja and add a little bit of one of the citrus oils, and I can get it down. But there is a whole range of supplements, and that's why I mentioned before, Jen O'Sullivan has a supplement desk reference guide that is absolutely fantastic and has a whole section on hormone support, where she talks about things like making sure we're drinking enough water. Again, we need the basic substances to create the hormones in the first place, that we're getting sufficient greens, that we're getting enough sleep. And I'm just going to throw this one in because it's quite interesting. Sleep is such an important factor when supporting your hormones. When you're sleep deprived, and that's considered less than 7 hours of sleep per night, your hormones become uncoordinated. Here's a couple of reasons to get more sleep if you're still not convinced. Number one, a lack of sleep actually increases your hunger hormone. So when you are awake, your brain will be telling you more to eat more, even if you don't need to. And number two, a lack of sleep causes your fat storage to get out of whack and increases the likelihood of insulin resistance, which essentially contributes to weight gain and obesity. So sleep is a really important factor in weight control. Walking or gentle exercise to increase oxygen to your blood and your brain. And she goes on. But anyway, I just want to reiterate what else was talked about, that we really need to look after our nutrition. So we're going to do a little test now. So if you can get out a piece of paper, we're going to talk about 6 different categories in this little hormone imbalance test. Now, this is I asked Deb where this had come from, and it's come from Maria Aurora, who's a naturopath in Western Australia, who's also a Young Living Platinum. When I'm doing this, she might be on her way to something else by now, but she's a very astute and very clever lady, and so she's put together this test. So what I want you to do is, in each symptom group, when I read them out, if you suffer from this particular symptom, just write symptom group 1 on your page and then mark off how many of these and total up how many of these you are actually experiencing. So symptom group 1, premenstrual PMS, early miscarriage, unexplained weight gain, anxiety, insomnia, painful or lumpy breasts, cyclical headaches, infertility. So we're not going to overthink it, just write down the number and we'll go on to symptom group 2. Symptom group 2, vaginal dryness, painful intercourse, bladder infections, hot flushes, night sweats, memory problems, lethargic depression. Okay, so just total up the number. Symptom group 3, puffiness and bloating, rapid weight gain, mood swings, anxious depression, insomnia, red flush on the face, weepiness, cervical dysplasia or an abnormal pap smear, breast tenderness, heavy bleeding, migraine headaches, foggy thinking, gallbladder problems. So that's number 3. Symptom group 4. So what I want you to do now is, if you've got more than 2 or 3 symptoms in both group 1 and 3, I want you to total for both those groups. So if you had 3 in group 1 and you had 3 in group 3, then add that together and that's your score for group 4. Symptom group 5, acne, excessive hair on the face and arms, thinning hair on the head, mid-cycle pain, ovarian cysts, polycystic ovary syndrome, hypoglycemia or unstable blood sugars, infertility. So just total up the number there. And then group 6, debilitating fatigue, foggy thinking, thin or dry skin, brown spots on the face, unstable blood sugar, low blood pressure, intolerance to exercise. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go through each of, and what I want you to do is come up with your top group. So just go back through 1 to 6 and look at the one that has the biggest number. All right, have you got that? Because that'll be the place to start looking and doing your research. And what I'm going to do is tell you now of each of these groups what that's actually indicating, and then some oils that might be helpful for you to start looking at. So symptom group 1 represents a progesterone deficiency. And the oils that you need are clary sage, Progessence Phyto Plus. I've just seen a spelling mistake on that. That should be a G, not a J. And I'll talk a little bit about Progessence Phyto Plus a bit later. Mista, Ylang Ylang, Sensation, Sandalwood, Dragon Time, what a great name for an oil, over your ovaries, Panaway and Copaiba over the lower spine. So that's symptom group 1. Symptom group 2, if that's your top of the pops, is actually describing an estrogen deficiency. So we have 2 major female reproductive hormones, progesterone and estrogen, and they need to be in balance for us to function the best way that we possibly can. So symptom group 2, estrogen deficiency. Pardon me. And so the oils that are recommended here are clary sage, Progessence Phyto Plus, Mista, and Endoflex. Symptom group 3, represents an excess of estrogen. Okay, so the symptom group 2 was a deficiency. This is an excess. And the oils that are recommended here are grapefruit, Sensation, jasmine, and once again, Progessence Phyto Plus, which is spelled correctly. Number 4, which remember was the combination of your score for number 1 and number 3. And it's a combination of low progesterone and low estrogen. And the oils that are recommended here are clary sage, Sensation, jasmine, Ylang Ylang, Progessence Phyto Plus, Dragon Time, and Sandalwood. Symptom group 5 represents an excess in androgens, and the oils that are recommended here are Endoflex, Energy, Nutmeg, and Nincha. And lastly, symptom group 6 represents a cortisol deficiency, and the oils you need there are the same as the excess androgens: Endoflex, Energy, Nutmeg, and Nincha. And we'll keep going. So can something as simple and pristine as an essential oil, a pure essential oil, be part of the solution? Well, yes, they can, because they are actually small but powerful, and they're part of the plant that's actually causing the plant to change its function and to work well and be healthy. And so the oils are doing the same thing for us. They're distilled from various parts of the plant, depending on the type of oil that you're working with. So it might be a shrub, it might be a tree, it might be the rind of a citrus fruit, it could be a herb that's been distilled, it could be a flower or a root or a fruit or a resin. It varies from oil to oil. But what we do know about essential oils is they support the body. In the same way they support the plant, that they're the lifeblood of, they also support our human body in our skeletal system, in our muscular system, our circulatory system, our endocrine system, which is our hormonal system, our respiratory system and our immune system. And they help with hormones, brain health, healthy weight. They help with emotional support, spiritual support, and managing stress, along with a number of other things. It is important that you use an oil that's pure, because we've already talked about that chemicals can mimic estrogen. So if our oil isn't pure, we can be doing more harm than good. So rule number one, use a pure oil. And it is buyer beware. You do have to do your checking up, because people will write 100% pure, and that component of the oil may be, but is the bottle completely full of pure oil, or is it only part? And some essential oil companies, in wanting to extend how much money they're going to make, dilute their oils with vegetable or mineral oils. They use non-organic farming practices so that the plant itself is fine, but because the soil is already depleted and has other nasty chemicals in there, that gets into the plant and therefore gets distilled into the oil. Sometimes the companies will use cheaper oils. They'll use synthetic substances to stretch an oil. They'll extend an oil with alcohol or ethyl alcohol, or they'll extract an oil from the plant using chemical solvents to speed up the process, because it might take longer and therefore be more expensive if you do it just through steam distillation. So that's, in terms of staying safe, that's the first and most primary thing. Use pure oils. And we know with Young Living, because of their seed to seal promise, they're guaranteeing that from the seed choice to the soil choice, right through to the seal on the bottle, their oils are pure and they actually have a guarantee. Rule number two is, if in doubt, use a carrier oil. Don't use the oil pure. Dilute it down with a carrier oil, not because it's going to dilute the effectiveness of the oil, but because it's going to slow down the rate in which that oil goes into your body, and therefore might avoid, a bit of redness, or because it's going in quickly. So carrier oils are just other vegetable oils, but they're not essential oils, in as much as they are just the transport system, if you like, and then that's why they're called a carrier oil. So examples of that are almond oil, coconut, fractionated coconut oil, grapeseed oil, and Young Living have a range of carrier oils themselves, and I love the V6 because it's got 6 different oils in it, and my skin loves it. So you can't believe all the claims you hear about oils. The majority of oils on the market that you see in the $2 shops and the chemists are synthetic grade, and really there is only a very small percentage that are at the top of that pyramid that are genuine pure grade oils. So buyer beware. Check out the company you're buying from. So I chose Young Living. I had used oils from another company in the past, and when I went back to look at them, I saw that they had a use-by date on them, which surprised me because I've never seen a use-by date on a plant. So 100% plant-based product shouldn't have a use-by date. So it tells me instantly there's something else in there that can go off. And carrier oils will spoil over time. So if you're making up a batch to use oils in a carrier base, just remember it won't have a life. It won't it will have a life. So why did I get so impressed with Young Living? Well, they're the global leader in essential oils. They have a huge range of pure oils as well as blended oils for specific purposes. And Gary Young, who established the company, always said he made oil and particularly blends for a purpose and not for profit. So there is always a reason behind why he's put oils together. They also offer a big range of natural plant-based and essential oil-infused baby care, skincare, makeup in their range. So personal care products that don't have the nasty chemicals that are going to mess with your hormones. They go the extra effort and they hand weed the plants. They get soil that's not had any chemicals introduced to it, and they certainly don't use pesticides or chemicals, no weed killers. They actually use oils for some bug control. And they go out into the field and test the plants so that the oils are harvested at their peak. And if you want to know more about the Seed to Seal promise, you can go to seedtoseal.com and have a look at it. But basically, they guarantee the purity of the seed, the cultivation process and the growth process, how they distill that oil so that they get the best out of that oil. For instance, cypress oil, I think it is, has to be distilled for, I think it's how many hours? I don't know. It has to be distilled at a particular degree, and if you don't distill it properly, the 288 compounds that enact change in the human body in cypress oil, you're going to mess with those and you may end up with only a few. So that's the level of distillation knowledge that sits within the company of Young Living. They test within the company, but they also send their oils out to be tested by a third party so that we can look at their evidence and know that it's trustworthy. And then they seal that bottle so that goodness is there for you to enjoy. I'm going to show you a little video. Let's hope that you can hear it.
Some 30 years ago, a man with resolute vision and a cowboy spirit began exploring different avenues to optimize wellness. He was on a mission to combine his lifelong love of nature with his belief in the benefits of natural botanicals to support physical, spiritual, and emotional well-being. So Gary Young journeyed to France, where he studied and learned everything he could about essential oils, from how they were grown and distilled to their wellness benefits. Back in the United States, where there was not yet a robust essential oils industry or market, Gary planted a field of lavender from seeds he acquired while in France and started his family farm in the late 1980s. After years of growing and distilling essential oils, Gary decided to start a new company, Young Living, in 1994. And as Young Living grew in sophistication, so too did an active base of passionate customers who had gained a better understanding of the benefits of essential oils and plant-based products. A movement was growing. It was the company's passion for quality, dedication to its customers, and innovation in pioneering the essential oils movement that has propelled Young Living from a small family farm more than 20 years ago to a global enterprise with farms and customers all over the world today.
Young Living has experienced tremendous growth over the past 2 decades. We've burgeoned into a $1 billion-plus global company with nearly 3,000 employees serving over 4 million members globally. Today, Young Living has 16 corporate-owned and partner farms in 11 different countries. In addition to its corporate-owned and partner farms, Young Living sources from Seed to Seal certified suppliers around the world, producing more than 200 single essential oils and essential oil blends. Young Living is the global leader in essential oils.
Many businesses going through rapid growth experience moments in time that will define the future of the company. Young Living's decisive moment came in late 2014 when our compliance program at the time identified a sourcing issue in Peru. We determined this issue may have triggered a violation of the Lacey Act, which is a U.S. law regulating what can be done with certain protected plants or plant products. We immediately conducted our own investigation with assistance from outside counsel, and upon completion of the internal investigation in 2015, we decided to voluntarily disclose this issue to the U.S. government in 2015. Young Living spent the next 2 years rectifying the situation. We responded the way forward-moving companies do. We found and solved the problem to help ensure our plants are correctly sourced, and we are a better company as a result. Young Living is committed to compliance. We have developed a comprehensive Lacey Act compliance program to help ensure that plant products come from legal and sustainable sources. Young Living corporate-owned farms, partner farms, and seed-to-seal certified suppliers must meet the standards of our Lacey Act compliance program.
This program is the gold standard for Lacey Act compliance, and Young Living is the first and only essential oils company to have a comprehensive Lacey Act-specific compliance program that has been reviewed and accepted by the government. Our team has been working collaboratively with our corporate-owned farms, partner farms, seed-to-seal certified suppliers, and the government for more than a year to develop this new program, showing our clear commitment to safely, legally, and sustainably sourced plant products.
Under this program, Young Living will audit suppliers and plant materials to determine whether they have met the legal and protective guidelines set forward in this program. The 5-step process of the Lacey Act compliance program includes education, evaluation, certification, risk assessment, and ongoing auditing and monitoring. Young Living's investment in and implementation of the process demonstrates our absolute dedication to become a better company today than we were the day before.
We're focused on providing our customers with the highest quality essential oils and plant-based products that they can feel good about using themselves, with their families, and in their homes.
Young Living has always been a purpose-driven company. It is part of our culture. We're driven by a desire to serve the global community and to inspire our employees and customers around the world. Young Living is paving the way for every other essential oils company to improve processes that protect our plants and our planet and help ensure quality standards. We believe attention to quality is a constant guiding principle that fuels the movement. We believe that safely, legally, and sustainably sourcing plant products is the compliance model for the industry. We believe that sustainability is the future for the growth of our industry and the world. Young Living is a better company today, and we have our sights set on an even greater tomorrow.
So we source our products, our oils from all over the world, including Australia. There's a sandalwood farm in Kununurra. There's a blue cypress farm in Darwin. There's a tea tree farm in, I think it's in northern New South Wales. And we also source Kunzia from Tasmania, all over the world. And these are either partner farms or farms owned by Young Living. You can visit the farms, and here's a picture of Deb and Roy visiting the Mona, Utah farm. And I know that Marjolaine has also been to this farm on the silver trip. And you can actually see how the product is sourced and grown. A little goes a long way when it comes to essential oils. If you haven't used them before, people can get a bit, oh, gee, that's expensive for a little bottle. But in fact, in a 15 ml bottle, you will get approximately 250 drops. And given that most applications are 1 to 3 drops, that's a lot of product in that bottle, very concentrated. A 5 ml bottle, approximately 90 drops. And so a little goes a long way. So essential oils for hormones. Just want to do a little bit of information about some of the products that I've already talked about. And then I'm going to really encourage you to do your own research and go finding out more as to whether this oil might help you. So the first product that I really want to talk about is Progessence Plus, or Progessence Phyto Plus. This was actually, it's a natural progesterone serum, and it's derived from wild yam, safe enough for everyday use. And yeah, it's a product that really does look to balance out your hormones, obviously for women only. Wouldn't recommend it for men. So that's something worth looking into. Sensation oil, a wonderfully fragrant, powerfully romantic blend that I love it as a perfume, actually. Sensation, formulated to enhance the enjoyment of special moments. So uses romantic emotions, skin health, beautiful oil for skin. Mister. Now, you'd think with a name like Mister that it is for the blokes, and it can be, but it can also be a really balancing oil when it comes to estrogen deficiency and even low progesterone and low estrogen. So, yeah, have a look at Mister and do a bit of research as to what it's stimulating within your hormone system. Clary sage. Clary sage is an oil that is particularly balancing and very helpful for people who are experiencing painful periods and PMS symptoms. Endoflex, love Endoflex. I think one of my customers used it particularly for night sweats when she was going through menopause and found it particularly helpful. But it can be used to help support people who are having brain fog, supporting metabolism, adrenal fatigue, PMS, thyroid balancing, hormonal migraines. And this is one that you can either breathe it in or topically put it on your neck, as it says there. And yeah, that is an oil that is very, very powerful. Nincture we talked about a little earlier. So this is a high antioxidant and energy-giving drink, and without all the sugars that you get in traditional energy drinks. And 30 mils of Nincture, which is not very much, has the equivalent goodness of 2 litres of carrot juice, 8 oranges, 18 amino acids, 21 trace minerals, 1 kilo of beetroots, 6 essential fatty acids. And I want to particularly underline that because most hormones are actually made of fats. That's part of how they're put together. And so without fatty acids in our diet, we're not going to be able to manufacture the hormones that we need. Vitamin B1, B2 and B6, and the equivalent nutrition of 3 cups of raspberries and 2 cups of blueberries. So that's packing a real punch for 30 mils. And just try it for a month at 30 mils and you'll be amazed at what happens with your energy. Now, I just want to tell you a couple of stories. Ooh, hang on. This is Jackie. Jackie is Kathy's sister, and Jackie had been having real issues conceiving. You can see here that problem has been resolved, and she started using Nincture on a regular basis, and that's part of her story. I'm not sure if this video is going to work. Let's give it a go. This was my story of using Nincture every day for 30 days.
Hi everyone, it's Andrea Donaldson. This is video mark 2. It's halfway through my mother-in-law came over. She lives on the property with us, and so I stopped the video. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the Nincture Challenge and what it's meant for me. Without labouring the story too long, we've had probably 2 and a little bit years of quite a journey with our son, who has some mental health issues and also some addiction issues. And so that's taken its toll on us as a couple emotionally. And so prior to me joining Young Living, my GP had put me on antidepressants. After I joined Young Living and done a little bit more research, I was keen to come off them, but he didn't want me to come off too quickly. And with the Nincture Challenge coming up, I went back to my GP and said, I think the time is right. I'm doing a lot of things to support my system, both with essential oils and supplements. And he was prepared to wean me off, which I did over the week and then probably the first 2 weeks of the challenge. So both Wes and I have been using Nincture off and on since I joined Young Living, but not probably as consistently as I have done over the last 30 days. So what I've noticed is my energy levels are better. I've also noticed I'm sleeping well, and I have weaned off the antidepressants without any change in my mood, which is fantastic. I've also been supporting my system with my brand new perfume. I've replaced Valor with Joy and Orange combined in a roller bottle. So just love that blend. And we know citrus oils are really supportive for emotional health. So Nincture has been part of that journey, and when you look at the oils that are part of what's in Nincture, there are some citrus oils in there as well. So just excited that the Nincture challenge came at just the right time for me, and we will be continuing using Nincture.
So I'm just going to stop it there and keep going, but I then had a major health challenge in 2019 where my skin was particularly affected, and Nincture was a big part of that recovery as well. We've seen some great things happen using Nincture regularly for my husband's sugar, his diabetes, and his GP is still scratching his head as to what's happening with his diabetic control. So and that's continued. That's like how many years? Nearly 3 years on. So just really encourage you to look at the supplements that we offer to support your hormones. Going a bit deeper and learning more. So as I said at the beginning, we don't intend to diagnose or treat anyone here. Our aim is to educate, and then it's up to you to start to do a bit more research for yourself, particularly on some of those oils that I've mentioned tonight. But there are lots of great resources. There are apps on phones. There are reference guides. As I mentioned, Jen O'Sullivan has brought out another reference guide specifically around supplements. There are Facebook groups and all sorts of things. So please reach out to whoever invited you to this class and find out more and grow your knowledge. So where to begin? If you are not yet a member, then you have some options. They're good, better and best, I've called them. And so good is obviously to go straight to the Young Living website and order a retail order. You'll need a contact number from the person who's introduced you, so to reach out to them. But better would be to set up your own wholesale account. And I'm going to give you a couple of options with that as we go on, which will give you 24% off for life on all your Young Living products, and that's nothing to be sneezed at. And then what I would consider best is to join the monthly loyalty program, auto ship program, if you want to call it that, which gives you cheaper shipping rates, and then you earn credits back that you can then use to buy more products. There's a minimum spend each month, and that's 50 point value, which roughly would equate to, I think, probably 80 or 90 Australian dollars a month. But if you're thinking about supplements that will help your hormones along with oils to support specific issues, then that's easy to reach that. And if you're going to go to the effort of actually getting rid of the chemicals in your lifestyle, you're going to need to be looking at your personal care products as well as your cleaning products, as well as anything that you're using around in the house. So reaching that minimum spend is not usually an issue. And then you will be getting best value for money. So there are some options for starter kits, which will instantly you purchase the starter kit, you become a wholesale member. So one is the Thieves Starter Kit. There are other options, including a woman's wellness bundle, which gives the Progessence Phyto Plus grapefruit sensation, and from memory, I can't read that, but I'm pretty sure it's tangerine, and a month's supply of Mincha in sachets. So the moment, I just want to show you this, that each month, if you're a member of the loyalty program, there are additional oils that are thrown in for free, and this is this month's options. That second tier, so 190 PV, you get probably one of my favourite oils, and that's Peace and Calming. But at the 320 PV peer, you also get Clary Sage, which might have been one of the oils you've identified tonight that you want to look into. We have a whole series of workshops to help educate you. So if this is your first look at essential oils, there are lots of other workshops that we run that look at the basics of oils, about how do I ditch and switch and create a toxic-free home, how do I get the most out of energy and immune support, what about if I've got kids or pets, so lots on offer. And maybe you want to start sharing this idea of using oils for health with friends and family. And as I said before, Deb created an income that allowed her and her family to travel for 18 months. If you've got a few hours a week that you'd like to invest and be systematic about it, then there's training on offer, and there's lots of income available as you share. I did want to tell you, though, that until the end of May, so we're now the 17th of May that I'm recording this, there is a special offer for what's called a customised enrolment order. So any order that gets up to 100 points value, so each product has a point value, you will automatically receive a free diffuser, a desert mist diffuser, which is a beautiful diffuser. I've actually got it going in the background at the moment. So what that means is, rather than pick a starter kit, you can put together your own enrolment order. And if you get up to that 100 PV, you will automatically get this free diffuser, which is a beautiful way to change the mood in your home. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen in a moment and come back to the group to see if anyone has any questions. But it's this is a great quote. It's easier to be well than to get well. And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to spend a whole lot of money on health products. If you don't, it's like you'll be spending it on getting well products. So just really encourage you to think about that. And thank you for coming tonight. So I'll just stop sharing and ask you to unmute. If there are any questions?
Well done.
Well done.
I want to join. Can I join?